Acceleration by Pascal Ackermann. Manuel Buchmann.
yourself to earn this victory. The race is run, but the poor souls bringing up the rear continue to cross the line. It's a bit of a knock for the morale. Another attack in the leading group. Watch out, a team leader is falling behind. A small group of riders are trying to get clear of the bunch.
All right, after stage one without any commentary, we are here for the multicast with Imea in charge. This is Sean Call replacing the absent other Sean, Secretary of the IMA. But after stage one, we wanted to recap our scores. In Group A, we have Daniel Miko leading with 146 points. Kingmaker second with 101. Push leading a tight battle for third with 75. Mendez 74. Ibra 73. And DDSS 22 in the mud with 41 points. In Group B, which we currently have on stream, we have Snake with a commanding lead of 157 points, Swagson with 96 in second, Groot with 87 in third place, Yanu with 80 points in fourth, and in fifth and sixth we have El Tochuax with 47 points, and Tim with 41. Moving to Group C, we have Joe Whiteley with 158 points, leading Leo Phalandri with 139. P2 has 84 in third place. Guillermo, 56 for fourth place. Fifth is Alder in 45 points. And Huli Cools with the lowest points of the first stage in any group with 28. In our final group, we have Basso leading with 171 points, the best of any stage one. Toinu, 135 points in second. El Grande Fravo with 87 points in third. Kenyas, 45 points for fourth. Agap, 38. And Ghosty, in sixth place with 32 points. With that, we rejoin Group B with Hooly Cools in front alongside riders who I cannot see at the moment, but we will see them shortly. They are the riders of Guillermo, and that is Group C. I take that back. That is Group C, Hooly Cools and Guillermo working in the front, in the middle of our second stage, which goes from Briud to, I don't know why I said that when I can't pronounce these cities, Vic-sur-Seray. It is a 211 kilometer stage with many, many KOM points, with some of the tougher climbs coming at the conclusion of the stage. Anyway, we see 11 folk heading into our climb here. And it looks like Joe Whiteley is going to take third place behind Guillermo and Uli Cools at the KOM.
KOM, bro. KOM.
It is, as I am adjusting to these stages, trying to figure out who is still in the front and which group may lead. It looks like we have 5 men in the leading group, which will be joined by 10 shortly. Probably after this final fourth category climb here. As you see Joe Whiteley going for the long attack, and Hooly Cools trying to pace as well, but that looks like Hooly Cools followed by Joe Whiteley and Guillermo. Across our groups, Group A will be the first to finish the stage. They have 58 kilometers to go as they start the third to final climb. We will then see the finish of Group D, who has 95 kilometers to go. Group C, as we see on screen, with 105. And Group B is lagging behind the rest, 168 kilometers to go, which means that they have made sure we will have a finish to view on stream. Thank you to them for being slow with the lobbies tonight, Mr. Snake. We have joined the group of Hush, which is Group A. We see 25 riders in the main pack there, many others dropped, and one rider out in front being caught by the peloton. They are approaching, again, that second category climb, which should make this a very, very good race. As Imea cycles through all of the groups, you now see Group B, and as I say that, back to C immediately. It is nice to see Hooly Cools, Guillermo, and Joe continuing on for these points, and not just giving up on the breakaway after each KOM. It is nice to see the attack. That is Sivikov and Madwas in the front there. So the hill and the 78 medium mountain, I believe, for Hooly Cools. And is that McClay for Joe Whiteley, the 77 sprinter? I cannot see at the moment. But good attacks there for the KOM. And heading into the only intermediate sprint point of the day in Group C. That is Cummings for Joe Whiteley, as I see on his screen as well. Last, we now have the correct stream of C available from EMEA for me properly. So That is much appreciated as I see what is on the screen of all. Cummings appears to take the sprint point for Joseph Whiteley in Group C, and there. We have 40 kilometers to go for Group A as they approach their final first category climb. As we move to their final, see them shortly. So we are looking at Group A now with the stream of fish. There is one rider out in front with 31-second lead on the group. And then a major group of 11 going over the biggest climb of the day. I believe out in front there, that is DDS with the sole rider for Spain 2. We've got Mendez as well as Ibra, the Daniel Miko, one rider of Kingmaker, and 2 of Mendez still in this group as Hush tries to lead up the climb. We see DDS take the points over the first cat, followed by Ibra, Daniel Miko, and then Hush. They slow down in the descent here. They have totally left Mendez in the dust though, and are allowing Kingmaker back into the group. Let's see if Mendez has a bigger plan or if he is just too far behind to make a difference here. As they descend, we see comments between the riders hoping to keep Mendez behind. I believe the rider of Daniel Miko is also with those of Mendez in Group A1 now. We'll see one final climb here, that second category climb before we descend into the finish. With Hush taking most of the pace down the climb, but almost everybody should be recovering very well in this finish. And we see the 5-kilometer to go marker for each of the 82 mountain riders as Hush makes an attack with Martinez, but does not create the gap as they head around the corner. That gap may come shortly there with 4 kilometers to go. Mendez bringing up the rear, hoping to reconnect, but it will be tough for the Spaniard. Now we see DDS leading the pack with 3 kilometers to go into the climb, of course, 20K to the finish. Ibra also looks well positioned at the moment. Kingmaker at the back of the group alongside his fellow French countrymen. DDS continues to lead 2 kilometers here. Having not seen the rest of the KOM points, we don't know who has done best on this stage so far, but we'll have those results shortly after the stage finish. Hush looks ready to up the pace with 800 meters to go, but Ibra is the one on the front. Kingmaker now challenging. Hush still there. Ibra seeming to have waited with hopes of a good finish, but oh, it is Daniel Miko. That is a photo finish we will not know between Kingmaker, Daniel Miko, and Ibra unless Hush shares his screen for us. But we now have a lovely descent into the finish. 15 kilometers to go, and Hush has made an attack trying to get away on the short, flat section of that descent, and is unsuccessful. Kingmaker and Daniel Miko making sure that does not occur. Ibra also in the wheels, DDS trying to make up for lost points in the last stage.
This climb is feared by many riders. The percentages are very high.
And here we go under the 10-kilometer banner. They are all looking at each other, but we see Mendez attack away from Miko, hoping to maintain his point at the finish line in case he were to lose Miko's rider, although we'd have to check the exact rules on placements there. But we see Hush sitting behind the rider of Ibra, 7 kilometers to go, and we start to flatten out. DDS taking Ibra's wheel now, Hush the only one on the right side of the road. Ibra must hope that his bars are the best so far, but we shall see. And DDS going for an attack to try to get away in the final bit. The time has gotten up again, and this attack might make the difference. There are still 15 seconds between these four and DDS, who would get a massive bonus, hypothetically, for winning the stage, but I believe the sprint here will still catch him if they make the difference. But it's DDS, and it's Miko leading out Hush, leading out Kingmaker, Ibra on the side. Kingmaker jumping from the slipstream. Oh, it could be close, but DDS will take the win here. DDS, and then Ibra over Kingmaker, over Daniel Miko, over Hush, and we will see the finish of the final point scores here. It will be Miko taking a bonus point above Mendez. We will look for the results now, and we move back to check Group B to check on the status of our center court. They are approaching the first category climb, or in the middle of that now. We see Huli Cools in the front with 5 kilometers to go ahead of Leo Philandri and 3 riders of Joseph Whiteley. 2 riders now, Froome leading out Cummings, 2 riders of Alder, and Guillermo as well. That means we are missing 1 from that group not in contention. That would be T2. We do not know where his first rider is, but we should be heading to Group D shortly as they are cresting the first category climb and heading into the finale. But that is where we are in Group D. Group D, here we go. They are heading down to the finish. Unclear where we got behind there, but that is Agap leading a group of himself, Inyas, and we believe T2, heading into the final 10 kilometers there. They are heading into the finish with less than 10K to go. There are 3 riders 24 seconds back. I take it back, that is not a rider of T2, that is definitely a rider of Basso. Into the finish there, that's Agap, Kinyas, and Basso. As they go over this little crest, we shall see the 5 kilometers to go marker, and they are doing their best to maintain the gap on the back. Agap is leading the group out. Basso now doing so. Kinyas allowing Agap to take the wheel, and they continue their gap over the remaining 3 riders. 2K to go. We should be heading into the final sprint. They are obviously waiting for Basso to lead them out, but Basso, there goes. Agap also going. Agap looking to come around. Kinyas also coming with speed, but Basso waited just enough. Basso will take it over Kinyas and Agap. We shall look for the next finishers. It is going to be Ghosty, and then Koinu, and we are back to Group B after that finish there. They are heading into the second kilometer, the second category climb, heading towards the finish in Group D. Oh, I apologize, Ismaya is letting me know I am laggy from improper streams. We see heading into the second category climb with 22K to go. Huli Cools is leading with a rider of Alder, 2 of Joseph Whiteley, 1 of Guillermo, and 1 of Leo Philandry. Again, we are looking for the first rider of T2 to come into frame, but we do not see them at the moment. We head under the 20-kilometer to go marker. T2 is leading, not leading, trying to catch up from behind, but it is Cooley Cool and Joseph Whiteley attacking the group, heading for these final KOM points and the descent to the finish. That we see Joseph Whiteley on the left, Cooley Cools on the right, and 4 riders behind, which should still include the second rider of Joe Whiteley, which is the puncher, who will also be going for KOM points and likely the final sprint. Joseph Whiteley wins that KOM ahead of Cooley Cools, who will push the descent to keep the puncher away.
KOM, bro. KOM.
Cools lamenting on stream that he is dead, but that is Leo jumping across to see if that gap will stay. It will not, and there are now 6 riders back together. Froome looking to lead away, but now it is Alder with Joe Whiteley's puncher as the other 4 are gapped again. Guillermo also has the puncher heading into this finish, while Cooley Cools has the 82 Mountain. It looks like Leo Philandry also has the 82 Mountain. Unclear which of the riders of Alder that is at the moment. And we have a 1-man breakaway. That, of course, is Joe Whiteley having 2 in the group. And Leo also attacking to connect with Froome, but the gap is large with 7K to go. Leo doing a good job to keep the rest of the group behind, only by 5 to 10 seconds, but it is enough for a gap at the moment as others decide what to do. Guillermo jumps across with his puncher. Joe Whiteley, we need to be careful. In the back is Alder, and there we go, but Cooley Cools is dead. It is clear. Froome all the way out in front. And the 4 others going for the minor placings, but Joe Whiteley is out and will win stage 2. We look at the group behind, being led by Guillermo as Joe Whiteley goes under the 1-kilometer banner. And that is, of course, a win for Chris Froome of Joe Whiteley. And the sprint behind, Cummings is attacking with the rider of Guillermo taking 2nd place, followed by Alders Bernal. Cummings 4th for the bonus points. Then Cooley Cools and Leo Philandry getting 6, T2 in 7th. What was clearly a good attacking race from Joe Whiteley to get 2 riders to the finish. That is huge points for the man from the UK. And we will see the rest of the riders come into the finish here. And we just might have results from our 3 groups to share with you. Before we head to Group D, as I say that, Group B, that is the group stream. I see it now, and thank you so much. My stream was lagging just a moment, but we are good. We see Group taking his riders up to the 2nd category climb, the first of the final 3 climbs. There is a group of 7 out in front, and it is unclear exactly who else is facing in the group. Tim is here, and one of the riders of France. I'm not sure who is riding with what jersey of the French at this point, but there is Snake out front with Spikeson and 1 rider of Tim, meaning that Groot is here with El Totoax and Yanu, alongside some other thumbsticks. riders go under the 1 kilometer to go there, and so they have crested the second category climb. Group might take any final points, but I believe they are all gone to the 5 up front. This first category climb will be very important. The front group will want to keep their advantage, but also their bars, so we will see how they play this after having seen all 3 previous groups go as well. We also will say that we have Group D already started on stage 3, while A and C continue along in their setup of stages. So we have got 5 riders in front with 40-second gap over what we will call the peloton of 8 riders. 3 of one of our French players, 1 of Tim, 2 of Groot, and 2 of the other French. While we now see Tim's rider dropping back to support his man in the peloton, leaving 4 up front, 2 of Swagson, 2 of Snake. They are the leaders of this group heading into the stage, and it looks like they are being let go again to further the gap. And the gap is now 1 minute 5 seconds, 1 minute 7 seconds for the 4 leaders. One of the riders up front has dropped. I believe that is one of the riders of Snake, based on what we see in the chat there, but it is not sure. We see El Toto Ox trying to lead this group, Groot sitting slightly off the back of them as Johannesson dies and reconnects to the group, but his domestique is gone forever. I take it back. That was Wagson's final domestique, who will now try to stay in this little peloton to the top with 3.5 kilometers to go. He is already distanced off the back of the group, leaving just 1 rider of Swagson in the front, and it believes that we see the domestique of Snake also dying. So there are 2 leaders up front, 2 riders of Totolox in this group, 2 of Tim that quickly became 1 of Tim, 2 of Yanu, and Groot is again falling slightly off the pace as Tim attacks, trying to reach to the front group that Swagson is leading in front of Snake. 1.3 kilometers to go in the climb. You see Group's rider here, but they are attacking up front most certainly. That looks like Snake trying to take the KOM ahead of Swagson and Tim. It's looking like Snake will take the points. Tim coming for the second place points ahead of Swagson, and Groot is now staying with Gadu of, I believe, El Totoax, who attacks to the front group. That means that Yanu's rider is off the back of the other leaders. Tough spot for Yanu, who entered the stage in a tight battle with Groot for the 3rd qualifying spot today. We have 1 final climb for this group before we recap the results of all stage 2s as we head into stage 3 for the remaining groups. But we see 5 82 mountain riders, I believe, here with Janus trying to catch up on the descent. And it is a 35-second gap that reaches back up to 40, but it will be tight here to see how much Yanu wants to push in this descent, or whether the bars are good for the final climb. There, as you see, there are steep portions at the bottom and at the top with a small flat section there. But the gap has remained steady. But we will see what they do as they start to climb here. Will anyone attack? It is unclear. Of course, Snake and Swagson had the lead heading into the stage. We will see how they manage their point difference already. But all 5 go 5 across, and the gap to Yanu only 30 seconds now as it goes up and down just a tad. But El Toto Ox sits at the back of the group, We shall see whether he has been saving bars or not, as he did crest the top behind many of these riders on the first category. It is Snake, of course, leading over Tim and Groot as we go under the 20-kilometer banner. Tim making a difference on the tiny flat section, but all five still appear together. But Tim and Snake up front looking for the points, but Swagson also reconnecting, and El Totoax off and back on again on the back. Groot looking for these KOM points. They could be crucial for him. We see Snake and Tim continuing to fight, with Swagson just barely holding on. I say that, and he takes second at the KOM point. Only four together heading into the final descent. Let's see how they play it. The Totoax should be able to recover if this group looks around. The question will be what happens to Yanu. It is a potential attack from Groot, which is stymied, and the five riders go down with just 22 seconds over Yanu's rider, who is looking to reconnect for the final sprint, which would be crucial for the points. And they are together. There we go. All six leaders together with 11 kilometers to go. Groot taking some attacks, but Tim going with the true one, followed by Martinez and Leckerson. This does not appear to break the group, but we will see what impact it has on those riders. Yanu should be trying to recover as much as possible after some demon descending to recapture the group. Everyone now looks to position their rider for the final sprint, although some attacks like we saw in Group A, I believe, could still make the difference. And we've got 5 kilometers to go, and Groot pushes the pace just to slow down, pushing others to the front. Snake leading away, El Totoac, followed by Yanu, all in a line. Groot attacking on the left, Snake trying to match. 3.5 kilometers to go. This would be a perfect spot for a counterattack if Tim or Swagson have the bars here. 2K to go. And here comes the sprint. Snake leading them out. Tim with a good sprint as well. Yanu coming strong. We shall see. This will be tight all the way across. It looks like Snake, followed by Groot, followed by Yanu, followed by El Totoac, Tim and Swagson in 6. Those total results will be coming in shortly once the remaining riders finish the stage. And we return back to pictures of center court. That is Group C. We will return to Group C as they have started stage 3, a lovely stage from Valsenis to Rizul, 106. It's Group C, I said, Emea. I just have pronunciation of an American, so not everything can be understood. 165 kilometers. It is a mountain stage here for stage 3. As we look at Group B. Now that we're here, let's review the points of our group across the board. Group C, as we are now looking at it, is led by Joseph Whiteley, 317 points. That should be an insurmountable lead for him, assuming he can get even just a couple points at the finish and on the intermediates and KOM, which we have seen Joe do very well across the stages so far. Anyway, Leo Philandry is in second in the group with 180 points. In third is Guillermo with 159 points. Then we see Alder, 121. Fully Cools, 111. And T2 in final spot of the group with 108 points here in Group C, which is IMA Center Court, with the battle of Leo and Joe here in Inline Round 3. They are approaching the first climb of the day, a second category climb. As you see, this stage is not as packed with points like the previous ones were, but the number of points on each of those climbs is high after we saw mostly third and fourth category climbs, especially in stage 1. Anyway, points across the other groups. We will read the points of Group A after stage 2. Daniel Miko leads the standings with 214 points. Ibra jumps into second with a good stage 2, now with 200 points. Kingmaker in the final qualifying position at the moment, 175 points. DDSS22 with 160 points sitting in fourth. Mendez, 140 after abysmal stage 2, although he did score a number of KOM points. And Hush, sitting in the last spot of the group in the mud, as the biggest of all dogs would say, 121 points for Hush in 6th. The final points we have for you at the moment are those of Group D. That would be Bosco, 308 points. Has a 101 point lead over Toinu, who has 207. Kinyaz, jumping from the reserves into a qualifying position, 143 points. El Grande Bravo, 141 points for the tightest battle for third place. Gap, 121. And Ghosty, a challenging day so far, only 85 points, the lowest of all across the group, as we await the final standings from Group B after 2 stages. And with that, we look at Group C, IMA Center Court, with a leading group of Guillermo, 3 riders heading for the KOM points at that second category climb. And we will update the standings of Group B when able. Fully Cools is chasing with 3 riders. Clearly, there is a major group in the back as well, but we see Joe Whiteley with 4. Guillermo also with 2 in the middle gap, but Alder has 3 riders here as well, trying to collect some of those KOM points. But Guillermo should be looking to take all of the major points here at the second category climb in Group C. For those wondering, well, we will wait for the attack to Alder takes the points there with the late attack to take over with the KOM. But with that, Joe looks to be in good position with 3 or 4 riders in what should be E2, if I see that correctly. But he will also be bringing back the riders of Guillermo as they approach this first category climb. With that, Emea, we have 15 kilometers towards the intermediate sprint in Group D. We'll keep you updated as we appear in these other groups. Group A should be cresting the first category climb as well in the moment. But we have AGAP trying to reconnect with a group of 5 riders as they attempt to get the those sprint points. Padoon and Bujak are trying to make the juncture with, it looks like, 1 rider of every other team up in the front. This group has clearly pushed hard on those climbs, and Ghosty trying to attack across the gap now, meaning AGAP will have to pace again. We have 6 kilometers to the sprint, 6 riders up front, AGAP trying to close it with anything he can before another major climb. AGAP frustrated with El Grande Frabo for no relay. Unclear if Frabo has anyone in that front group, but either way, Frabo does come to the front for a moment. as they go into the descent for the intermediate sprint, there is 2.5 kilometers to go, and unclear who is sprinting from the front because AGAP has lost all the wheels. That appears to be two from Ghosty up front there, and a rider of Tuanu also going for the sprint point. It should be Ghosty and Tuanu getting the major, but Basso with two as well. Kinyas in between. And with that, we shall return to center court, knowing that Ghosty and Tuanu take the major points there in Group D. Here in Group C, we see 4 riders of Guilherme, 3 of Joseph Whiteley, at least 2 of Huli Cools, at least 2 of Alder, in a front group heading to the summit of the first category climb. That is 4 of Alder, meaning 0 riders of Leo. But Cummings is waiting for the back group. T2 also with the majority of his riders here. Broom is sitting in the major group for Joe Whiteley, now protected by Cummings, of course. It is a slow pace up front. T2 looking potentially to close the gap, but has gapped his own riders in the process. Alder pushing well with his hill rider for these final kilometers of the first category climb. Gegenhardt also doing well here, I believe, protected by Yates, and the Portuguese will also be looking for points after being stolen the points at the Cat 2 by the Colombian. And the groups are back together. T2 does pace it for Leo himself and Huli Cools there in the front. It looks like 3 kilometers to go in the climb here, if I can read it through Amea's mic off symbol. But we see again, that is Leo Falandri taking the pace alongside Alder. Leo, though, doing well, pushing with Costa, leading for his 82 Mountain Evenepoel. These are important points for Leo, who does need to defend his second place in the standings. He has a decent gap, but it is not enough to just assume will be okay. It is now Alder reconnecting with again alongside Huli Cools in the final kilometer of the climb. And with that, Alder looks to be attacking for the points and should get them ahead. Oh, it is Leo, and then Alder and Huli Cools heading into the descent. Obviously, other riders will get points there as well. It looks like Joe Whiteley takes the points for 5th and 6th, if we can count correctly here in America. We have missed the sprint in Group A, but Group D is heading to their other first category climb for major important points there as well. But we see Leo in a fantastic position there in Group C before we head out. Ega, with his 82 Mountain Rider, far behind those in the front, will need to make important decisions here in the final part of the climb, as he is in a very, very tough position. Frabo continuing to wheel suck on Agap, but that may be the right call if he has a rider up in front. Kinyas clearly summits right in head of Agap, but it is Ghosty and Toinu. Nope, Ghosty and yes, Toinu. I cannot keep Toinu and Tinu and Yanu, and I'm ruining it for all of us. But we see Agap attacking to Kinyas there after the climb here to read in the descent. There are still 40 kilometers to go in this one, and a long descent before they reach the final climb. With that, we remain apparently on Group D for now. That is... I lied. We are back to center court in Group C until the sprint point here in Group C. And then we will be searching for the finishes of the other groups. So we have Leo with 2 riders here. In a second group looking to connect, we have 3 riders of Guilherme the Portuguese and 3 of Joseph Whiteley and 1 of Hulicos. It looks like we also have additional French riders in the front, which should be those of T2. T2 knows he needs a good result here in order to pass and to make major gaps on Guilherme. Guilherme does have the rider advantage if they come with good bars across this gap, and we are heading to the sprint point with 11 kilometers to go. Guilherme still pushing with Leo, I believe, and T2 on the front of Group E1. They want these intermediate sprint points, and they are very important, of course, but who knows how much energy they've had to spend getting those points. Then again, energy does not earn you anything in the final tally. Here we go, 6 kilometers to go for the sprint, and Leo is pushing hard. Alder with 1 and Hulicos with 1, as well as Tonu with 2. There is that very steep descent that we saw in Group D before a climb to the points there, and the gap is shortening to 20 seconds. It looks like the Portuguese are trying to bridge here on the descent, but it won't be enough, I don't think. T2 leading out, but Guilherme really making the connection, as well as Joe Whiteley, as they now go into the ascent for the points. Boss leading out his leader, Evenepoel. T2 also needing to really score high here, cannot just give away the first points, which he does to Leo. Those are crucial points for Leo, as the other group must be positioning now for these final 2 climbs. With that, we await likely a return to Group D for their finish with 17 kilometers to go. And we read out the results in Group B after 2 stages, since they are far behind. Snake with 287 points should be safe into round 3. Groot in second, 206. Blackson, 118. Yanu, 141. Tim, 97. El Totuax, 87. Okay. We are here in the final climb of D. And there are 10 kilometers to go. We see a gap with Quinhas, El Grande Fravo, and Basso. 2 riders alone out in front. We don't know the for sure placings of them at the moment. But they should be of Toinu and of Ghosty. Under the banner there, a gap is pushing the pace after having been behind most of the day. Does that mean he's been saving bars, or has he been on the back foot? The rider in the first bit should be very far away, potentially for the win here, but Frabo attacks, and now Quinhas does as well. Basso potentially playing cat and mouse games here on this climb. Does he have a rider in front as well, or is this not his stage? Are there any stages that aren't Basso's stage? That is the question, though. There are 6 kilometers now to go in this climb. Great work by Basso to close the gap all the way to Quinhas. Frabo still out in front though, alongside Toinu and Ghosty. Ghosty needs a massive point haul here to qualify. What does he have in place? Under the 5-kilometer banner, 4K to go. That is Agap leading Kinyas and Basso. That cannot be a good spot for Agap. But it looks like they are gaining on Frabo. What is the situation up front as now they are together? That must be Toinu and Ghosty. What will the finish look like, though? We are not sure as we focus on Agap and his attempt to qualify here. Bravo looks like he will be caught shortly, and the gap to the front is closing. But it is still Ghosty and Toinu out in front as they reach 1 kilometer. Bravo is hot. It's Ghosty and Toinu. Kinyas looking in good position. Basso as well. It is Toinu likely to take the points away from Ghosty. We'll see if Ghosty had any final sprint. He did. Ghosty with the win over Toinu. It is Kinyas likely to take third ahead of Basso, ahead of Agap, and the 6th place points going to Frabo. GG's all around from Group D. Their final points tally will be coming in shortly as we look now to Group A. That is the group of Hush, who is leading a 17-man peloton into the final climb. This group has played the stage very differently than the others, being in a full group here. With that, we see Hush with 3, Ibra with 3, Kingmaker, you'll catch the guess here, with 3, Mendez with 3, and 1 of DDS alongside 3 of Daniel Miko, the leader after 2 stages. Kingmaker loses his first domestique of this group, but is on the front with 6 Ks to go. 3 from Daniel Miko, pushing up the right side behind Mendez. We'll see what DDS can do with just 1 rider. He did win the last stage in a fantastic attempt. We've got 5 kilometers to go, and Daniel Miko's rider is also off the back. There we go for Ibra, holding up the back of the peloton, and 3 from Mendez, again, still doing well. Mendez also needs the points after a very, very tough stage 2. DDS should be in the worst position here with 3K to go, but seems well locked onto the wheel of Kingmaker. 2.5 Kingmaker still has the positioning. Mendez finally losing his 3rd rider. Let's see what that means for his leader, Landa. 1.5 kilometers to go here for this group as they head to the finish. Kingmaker going left and right, and now alone. It should be a sprint, but no one has launched yet with 800 kilometers to go. It's DDS off the front. Will he win again? No, he dies. Then it's Kingmaker and Hush and Ibra all fighting. It looks like Kingmaker ahead of Ibra. Is it Kingmaker? Is it Kingmaker? It is Kingmaker ahead of Ibra, ahead of Daniel Miko, which should lock his points there. Then we see Mendez and Hush, followed by DDS in 6. Woo! The voice is almost going now, folks, but we return to center court, having now finished. And let's look at the situation here. We have 1 in front approaching the bottom of the final climb, and that is, of course, of Leo Philandry. We have 2 riders of Hooly Cools pacing, 1 of Joe Whiteley, back up to the front ahead of a group of 5. These 4 should start the climb ahead of the rest, but Hooly Cools has done the push ahead of the climb. See, this group is very different than the previous. We have multiple riders of the remaining teams in the back there. I saw 2 of Guillermo and 2 of Alder as they attempt to qualify. We will again continue to search for the riders of T2 in this group. Joe Whiteley takes the pace after having been able to rest nicely in the wheels of Huli Cools on that flat section while Leo was pacing on his own. Huli Cools now pushing the pace as well on the climb up to Rizul, which will go to an altitude of 1926 meters. Leo has now been gapped by Huli Cools and Joseph Whiteley under the 10-kilometer to go banner, but they are reconnected alongside the leader of Guillermo. Reminder on the points, it is Leo, Joe, and Guillermo, the 3 who will qualify at the moment. Huli Cools most certainly needs a win to qualify from this group, but it will be interesting as he now pushes the pace. Will the others give him the gap? Joe is not in danger, but Guillermo is in trouble if Huli Cools wins the stage. 7 kilometers to go for Sivikov with a 25-second gap over the other chasers, and the gap is widening. Huli Cools 50 seconds now, and it looks like the riders of Alder may have connected in that group, as well as one of T2. It is the other 82 mountains. Joe will not pace here. T2 needs to be the one alongside Alder and Guillermo. There we go from T2, but it is Huli Cools up front. And they look around. Is the gap, is that right? 1:35. That must be the win to Huli Cools unless the pacing has been terrible. And the gap is falling. Leo now with Alder. Guillermo, what is he doing? Will he attack to the front? It is 3.4 kilometers to go in a very tight sprint here for the remaining 5. But will Huli Cools have the energy to crest to the finish? It is still 1:25, and it is T2 trying to crest to the front. A second place probably won't do it for him, given that he was not at the front for much of the race, if we recall correctly, but Alder is following, and the rest of the sprint is behind, and the gap is falling. How much energy does Huli Cools have left as he goes under the banner? It should be a win for Huli Cools. They can no way catch up that gap at this point, but T2 does push, as Guillermo does as well, but Huli Cools will take it with a commanding win. A fantastic race. We will see if it's enough depending on the finishes here. Joe Whiteley looks for a great sprint. Will that be second for Joe? Will it be T2? It will be Joe Whiteley. T2. Guillermo in 4th. Alder in 5th. And Leo, after some wonderful attacks, in 6th. I think Leo should have taken enough points at the remainder of the stage to make the difference, but it is unclear. We must wait for those final results. 6th place was not what Leo was looking for in this final stage. With that, we have seen groups A, C, and D finish, meaning we have just one stage remaining in round 3 of Inline. And we will go to Group B, of course, to see their finish. They still have 52 kilometers to go in their race, meaning they are attempting the first category climb before the finish here. And we will connect here with Groot. Now, tonight we have seen groups finish already, and we have the first final results. In Group A, a surprise victor, Kingmaker, 311 points, moving into the semifinals here in Inline alongside his countryman, Daniel Miko, 18, with 307 points in Group A. The final spot moving in goes to the Tunisian Ibra, who I am sure will have choice words in the interview as always, but Ibra is through to the semis. Mendez is our fourth place finisher here on 186. Hush, 147. And DEF with 171. Finally, Ibra has joined us here in the commentary box as we still have Group B to finish. Emea, you cannot have sent the interviews already, but Ibra, if you'd like to commentate Group B alongside, please join us.
Yeah, I'm joining just not for the interview. I'm joining to watch also the end of this race. Is this the group of Swaxon?
This is the group of Swagson, but we do have one more set of results to publish here in Group D. Basso takes the win, no surprises, with 367 points. Koinu also makes it through to increase the French's numbers in 313 points in second place after good stages across the board. Now, I told you after stage 2 that Ghosty had the least points of any rider in the competition. It does not matter. He passes in third place, 233 points after amassing 148 in the final stage. Kenyaz, a fourth place result, Frabo 175, and A-Gap in the last place in the group at 153. But we now look to Group D.
If I can say something, Ghosty this is the second time that he passed like this, so it's really amazing that because against me in round 2 it was the same thing. He was last before the last stage, and he went all in and no one relates, so he won all the KOM and the stage, and he passed as second, not even third. So yeah, second time, and good for him. He is in the semifinal.
Great results.
I have to check the points so I can comment with you.
Okay. We see heading into the descent after that first category climb, a group of 3 with Groot, Snake, and that is Yanu, I believe. Here in the front group, it is Yanu. They are leading over 2 riders. That should be Swagson and Tim. In Group A1, leaving just 1 rider. I am sorry for El Totoax, who will be way off the back in A2. His chances are, how should we say it, in the mud. But it is Groot and Snake doing the pacing there. Yanu not doing very much. Swagson bringing much of the points of Tim, though. Tim seems to not be pacing much, but is taking a turn just as I slander him. There we go. It is Tim pacing. These are all, of course, the 82 mountain riders with no domestiques, but we do see someone has a domestique now with the rider of El Totoax, who, no matter what, will still not rejoin the front. It will just be if they want a bonus point or 2 off the final climb. But it is Groot now leading them under the 20 kilometers to go banner as the juncture is made, but Snake, of course, attacks alongside Groot to keep a gap. Not a gap, a gap. But we see Groot there leading with Snake. Flagson should like this positioning at this point, not knowing all of the KOM so far. He only has to beat the remaining riders, assuming that he has not lost 48 intermediate points to Yanu.
We have the classification of Group C, if you can check.
We do have Classification of Group C. Joseph Whiteley takes a commanding win. No surprise after the first two stages. Joe Whiteley, 402 points for the victory. Leo Falandri, 247. He does survive after a difficult stage 3, but he was good enough after stage 1 to maintain his positioning. Cooley Cools does sneak in the final qualifying spot, 242 points with his stage win there. What a great final attack. Guilherme needed just a few, he needed really to finish second to combat that. With that, it is five French into the semifinal already after 3 groups. They are the commanding nation here as we look back again to Group B. Ibra, what do you think of this leading duo and how others will play the group behind?
I don't think they will catch them because it's not a game of. I don't think it's a big game of yellow. I think a 77 pace. Oh, I didn't see the win. Never mind. If they work together behind, yes, there is an option to come back. But as you can see, no one is working, and Groot is killing himself. So yeah, I have no idea how the points are at this point. I have to check. Group B. The group.
Yes.
Group B. Okay,
Yes,
so
this is Group B.
Okay, Group B. It's Snake first, Groot second, Swaxon third. Who are the two in front?
It is Snake and Groot, so they are
So
in
that's
a
why
commanding
Swaxon
position.
so that's why Swaxon is not doing a move because he just has to be with these two guys. Yeah, I know he's attacking, and Swaxon has to follow. Swaxon has to.
And
I
he
don't know why
does,
he dropped the. He has to follow. He has to be in the wheel.
and he does follow successfully. Tim, though, is gapped, and the gap to the front is coming down quickly now, 115. This also matters for Swagson's countryman, Joe Whiteley. Snake is in position for pot 1 with a win or a second place to join Joe, but if not, it will be Basso and Joe in pot 1, meaning Joe avoids both Leo and Basso in the semifinal, but we shall see what happens. The gap is still 130. We looks like Snake will join Joe in pot 1, but still, this is important for the overall.
There's 3 kilometers left, and we have a sprint. I think the way they're playing, I think it's a sprint for qualification. Like
Yes,
whoever wins. I don't know the KOM situation though, because the gap was 50 points before the last stage. So if Yanu closed, if Emea can tell me, did Yanu close all this gap in KOMs?
oh, we see the final kilometer. It is Groot versus Snake right alongside each other. It looks like it will be Snake. Groot looks to be a little bit too slow there. Snake should take the win ahead of Groot. Swagson holding onto Yanu's wheel. Will he attack past him in the final bit? He will not. That will be Yanu for third and Swagson for fourth. Tim looks to be finding his way for the fifth place points, and we will look for El Totoax somewhere along the way.
For the third place of the group, if Yanu closed exactly, the gap was 48. If Yanu closed 33 points between KOM and IS on Swaxon, he passed. If he closed this gap, if he scored more than Swaxon, 34 points. If he scored, Emea, can you give me an information? Is that possible that Yanu scored 34 more points than Swaxon or not?
It
In
is
KOM?
not sure at this point. We
I don't
will
know.
closely await the groups, and we will also be moving to the interview section here to see how people feel about their races today. With that, Emea, we will move to interviews.
Move me.
And again, here we are waiting for the results of Group B. But I am sure we will have interviews here momentarily. And the first one, of course, Ibra, who joined us a little bit during that final stage there as we await points. Ibra, how did you feel your night go? Congratulations on passing through to the semifinal.
Yeah, I'm super happy. I'm also like a bit stressed because I'm waiting for the results. So, well, what I can say is that today I feel like I was confident. I felt like I deserved to pass to round three from the first, like without even being reserved. And I was confident about my level. So I just played my game and I was really good. Even if I finished third, I feel like I played really, really good. Like I could have also deserved first place or second place. It was good. I'm gonna check just sorry for interrupting, just gonna check how many Anu scored. 12 and 13 points. So IS now 13 points. Yanu 30. Oh my god. He might yeah, no 13. 13 33, 35, but 35, where is Yanu? That's it, 35 points, but then Swaxon scored 13. I think Swaxon passed. Yes.
It looks like Benyong is updating the points for us shortly. We will have them here momentarily. But
Yeah,
Ibra,
so I'll take you
going
over what happened. Yeah, it's I was entering this game and I was telling myself it's inline. You have to score points in KOM in IAS. It's just not the result. So I went aggressive in all the stages. Like if you saw if you see the replay, I was just going for IS KOM. I just didn't care about my bar because I knew like the limit to not go to keep my rider. So yeah, I was just went for the IS KOM, especially in second stage. I went for a very bold threat that worked out because I scored a lot of KOM in IS points. And yeah, in stage results, it was like fourth and then second, which is cool with the amount of points that I scored. Kingmaker scored a bit less points, but he also won two stages. GG to him. And yeah, Miko, I think he qualified from the first stage by scoring 150 points, and then he just scored 75 between the two others. He did all the job in the first one, also GG to him. So we have the classification of Group B if you want. It's
we
Bucks and Hopas.
we do have that classification here, meaning we will have our semifinals shortly, but we will give time for that. With the best score of the night in all groups, Snake wins Group B with 439 points. Grootmeister in second place, of course, from Norway, 321 points to be best of the second placers as well. And then Swagson does survive here for third with 240 points. Yanu gave a very, very close battle to be the best of the fourth placers, looking for someone to drop and make it into the semis. Yanu 226. Tim
I would join you
128.
back in. I would join you back in 2 minutes. Okay.
And Ibra, our Tunisian friend, has stepped away. We have someone in the audience, and they are gone now as we await others to come for interviews. But a very exciting set of stages. Hoping that Joe Whiteley appears as well so we can talk about his masterful point total in round one of the KOMs. But good stages all around for our qualifiers. As a reminder, in Group A, we had Kingmaker, Daniel Miko, and Ibra making it through to the semifinals. Snake, Groot, and Swagson in Group B. Joe Whiteley, Leo Philandry, and Huli Cools making it through in Group C. And then we have Basso, Toinu, and Ghosty through in Group D. Strong riders, of course, as expected, always here in round three, heading to the semis, but no major surprises from our end, I would say, about who passes. The biggest one maybe being Ibra coming out of the reserves. And with that, we have the semifinal draw coming as we await anyone looking to talk to me. But, I am not the most popular person here, so we will see if anyone decides to join. Alas, a well-deserved competition in Inline round 3. And we have Joe Whiteley and Ibra, I think, potentially joining as well. But Joe, congratulations on your group win today, 402 points. Let's start with how the win feels.
Yeah, I think the main thing is qualification. I was very happy after the first two stages. Stage 3, I just tried to not play like a dickhead, I guess, and not like get in the way of anybody or, just I just tried to play for the win, I guess. I wasn't really fussed at what was the current standings, so I just tried to go for the win. But we were all solo on that final stage very early on, and it became a little bit of like a cat and mouse, and Hooley eventually got away. So fair play to him.
Yeah, absolutely. That move was important for him. But Joe, if you had scored 0 points in stage 3, you still would have passed in first position here. Can you talk about your strategy, especially in stage 1, picking up as as many KOM points as stage points?
Yeah, I mean, it does look a little bit bad, 68 KOM points. I mean, at times it felt like nobody else was trying to go for them. Yeah, may picked up quite a few, but that's because he managed to break away. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to slow down on that stage. If I wouldn't say they were letting me take KOMs. I think I played very well for those KOMs. Likewise, I played very well for the stage. So, I mean, if they were going to let me take on those KOM ones, I'm just going to say thank you and take it. So, it
Absolutely.
wasn't my plan to do that, but it turned. I after the first two climbs and also the first intermediate sprint, I was like, well, if this is the lobby I'm going to be in, I may as well take advantage.
Absolutely. As you see, the draw for the semifinals will also be coming shortly. You cemented your spot into pot 1. How do you feel about avoiding Snake, as well as who you are maybe looking for from this draw?
Yeah, I mean, semi-finals, I don't think you can necessarily get an easier draw. I mean, you can definitely get a preferred draw, but yeah, Snake was very good today, to be in pot 1 as well. So I think he's a pretty underrated player when it comes to him. Definitely would be intrigued to see the draw. I know that I avoid Snake and I avoid Leo for Landry, so I guess that's quite sad for them.
They I'm sure will have to deal. But again, congratulations on your victory in Group C. And it appears that EMEA is ready for the draw here for the semifinals, and we will start. In pot 1, Snake was taken into Group A, meaning Joe, you'll be looking for your remaining folks in Group B.
Indeed.
Silence. Sorry.
And we wait.
Basso
Basso is taken into Group A, meaning joining you, Joe, will be Kingmaker in Group B of the semifinals. And if I am correct, EMEA should be posting the required pots based on the groups of round 3 here in a moment. But joining Group A will be Daniel Miko and Leo Philandri due to pot 2 being automatic. And Joe, your group becomes yourself, of course, Kingmaker, Grootmeister, and Toinu. This means that, I hate to say it, Group A will be IMA Center Court for the final.
Yes,
for
I
the
want to be
semifinal.
A. I want to be A. Yeah, exactly.
But pot 3 is free. Swagson joins Group A after he survives a battle in Group B tonight, joining Snake, Basso, Daniel Miko, and Leo.
What the fuck?
Heading into Group B is Ibra.
No, I'm not heading to Group B, bro.
And into Group
Ibra is in
A,
Group A.
that is Ghosty.
What the
Our final
fuck?
member of Group B will be Hooly Cools. So we shall look at those draws again. Snake, Basso, Daniel Miko, Leo Falandri, Blagson, and Ghosty. You all are in Group A. And for Group B, we have Joe Whiteley, Kingmaker, Groupmeister, Koinu, Ibra, and Hooly Cools. And with that, we look to the route.
Did I
Does
look
that mean
wrong?
it's about to be published?
Oh yes, okay, yeah. It's you.
And with that, we await the route, which should be published here. We have a hilly cobble stage from Kartuya to La Chana, 226 kilometers, 2 intermediate sprints, 2 first category climbs, and a couple of other fourths before a downhill descent finish. That should be an exciting stage as people navigate the cobbles and the hills, looking most likely at our puncher for the finish there. Stage 2 in our semifinals is a route from Pau to Bayonne. It will be 208 kilometers, a couple small fourth and third category climbs, but with 2 major first category climbs in the middle. We'll see who will want to push the pace, 2 intermediate sprints before they flat finish. And of course, a mountain stage here to close out the day, from a French town to Isola 2000, a couple of HC categorized climbs, a first and 1 intermediate sprint. We will see if that final climb has KOM points as well. For anyone who can say the name of the town, feel free to do so.
Which town?
The stage 3,
Oh.
I'm not,
Le Monetier, Le Ban. I don't know.
yeah,
Le Monetier, les Bains.
Le
Ils sont
Ban.
là.
thank you.
Les
Thank you,
Bains.
Ibra, for knowing more languages than our
Thank you.
American
Thank
and
you.
our Brit.
Thank you for knowing more languages.
In the
Um,
American and fake British.
um, with that, there are messages here I'm reading. But with that, what a wonderful set of stages here in Inline round 3. Is there more for us to do? Silence from the crowd.
GG, guys. I have to go. GG, everyone, and good night.
Thank you for the commentary as well, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for carrying this night. Thank you.
I was happy to do so. I definitely did not leave work to commentate. This was much more fun. But we will come back tomorrow. For the team competition is back on. We will see our scratch semifinal and final, meaning we have our second our first team medals of the competition, followed by our team sprint knockout stage. Again, 2 medal events tomorrow. Our first team medals of the competition will be important in the team battle for sure.
Sorry, I was going to say there's a wild Pot 1 team in Scratch that I don't know how we got there. Not talking about PCM UK, obviously, in Group B of Scratch, but we somehow made it to Pot 1.
Could never have been us. But with that, thank you to all for tuning in. This is the PCM World Cup. Tune in tomorrow.
Ciao, ciao, guys.